Hello and welcome to an update of the red wigglers, the Perionyx, and the European nightcrawlers. So this bin houses the blue worms or the Perionyx. And as you remember, we restarted this bin because I wanted to make sure that I had pure, as much as pure can be, Perionyx, the blue worms. And I added lots and lots of bedding in here. So they have plenty of moist bedding. I do not have to add any more bedding when I give them kitchen waste, which is their nitrogen source. You can do it this way. You can also put 2 to 3 inches of bedding and put new bedding every time you feed. I feed once a week. So some of my other bins, I just add bedding as I feed. That's a really nice specimen. You can see how quickly this guy moves. Can you see how, oh my goodness. Yeah, that is a blue worm, guys. Can you see the dark head, pointy dark head, flush, the clitellum is flush with the body, slightly lighter in color. They are thin. Now if I compare it, bear with me here. Once in a while I like to do this. If I compare this guy to my red wigglers, if I can go over here, this is the red wiggler bin. I can get a nice red wiggler here. So here's a red wiggler. And what does the red wiggler do? Kind of tries to figure out what the heck is going on, right? He's thicker. He's got the clitellum, a bulging clitellum. I'm holding on to this guy, that's why he can't go anywhere. But when you have them side by side, you can't tell the difference between the two. See, the blue worm just wiggly waggly all over the place. Okay, so I'm not really going to stress them out anymore. Just wanted to give you a quick peek. And when you see a whole bunch of them around the food source, you see how quickly they move. Just watch. Look at this. Just move. Get away from the light, get away from my hands. So if you have what you think are red worms and they move like this, chances are you have blue worms or combination of blue and red. Okay, so let me feed these guys up and we'll move on to the red wiggler bin. So here is their feeding for the week. It's got some nasty cucumbers that weren't bad, and banana skins, of course. We're a big fruit-eating family, so you got mango skins, and I already put a little bit of combination of pulverized eggshell, some coffee grounds, and some oyster shell for grit. And then we're just going to cover this all up with the bedding. Since they have so much bedding, I don't have to worry about adding any more. That is not the case, though, in the red wiggler bin, which we are going to see right now. So here is the red wiggler bin, and you can see how much worked over material there is in here. And these guys are all nice and happy. when I fluff up the bin, which is what I'm doing right now, all I'm doing really is bringing up from the bottom, flipping it to the top. This is just to get air to the bottom and gauge what is going on at the bottom of the bin. Things can be really deceiving at the top. And I always like to know that I don't have any excess moisture in the bin. So this is where I fed, and let's see. Oh, yes, this is where they're hanging out. You can see how they're moving compared to the blue worms. They're just kind of, okay, what's going on? We're not happy about this. Let's try and figure out where we can go, what we can do. That's the red wigglers. So, big difference. Now this bin has a lot of worked over material. So what I'm going to do is make a space right here where I'm going to put the new food and put just a handful of dry bedding. Now remember, if your bin was running on the dry side, you can put moist bedding in. And if your bin is running on the wet side, you can put dry bedding in. My bin, I think, is perfect, but because I put so much kitchen waste, I can afford to put in the dry bedding. If you don't have as much kitchen waste, you can always put in moist bedding. Just gauge the condition of your bin beforehand. So they'll also get a nice handful here, banana skins and mango skins. And we're going to give them just a pinch. Since I do this every week, I don't have to give them a lot. Can give them the grit source. And that's it. And same thing, we just cover it up. You want to cover it up with something that is moist. That way, everything stays nice and moist and the worms can get at it. Banana peels can dry out if you don't have anything moist covering them. So, something to take into consideration. We're going to mark this. And these guys are fed too. So we've had some rain and I didn't have any climbers. So they must be really happy with what's going on down there. Let's move over to our Euros. So here are the European night crawlers. And you can see these guys have been crawling. Well, there are night crawlers after all, right? So this bin is getting kind of full. When I say full, for me, full means when it goes halfway up the bin. I don't like to have a lot of material in the bin before I harvest because I do the horizontal migration. And if I'm going to move all the material to one side, I won't be able to stack it up. There's not enough room here. So I have to keep an eye on that. But these guys are looking real nice. The material is really moist. And when I prepare a bin for harvest, I really don't like to put bedding except for the new side that I'm going to be feeding. So these guys are not yet ready for harvest because there's still a lot of material to work over. But okay, so here is, I can just hear the squishiness all in here. That's where they are. You can see how many there are. It's quite Yeah, they're all throughout here. All in this pocket right here. This is where I fed last. So that's where they are. So let's see. We don't have food here, okay. We are going to be modest. I'm not going to give them a whole lot. Since I'm not putting bedding in, I really do want for them to work over the bedding that is still in the bin so that we can prepare for harvesting this bin. Spring is coming, so my garden will need some nice fresh castings. Not that I'm a great gardener, but I try. And we're going to cover it up so we don't attract any pests and mark it. But you can see how much stuff is in here, almost worked over. So these guys are doing a good job. They're reproducing beautifully. They're actually reproducing better in this shallow 10-gallon bin than they did for me in my 45-gallon, believe it or not. And I have a video where I was doing the harvesting of the 45-gallon, and I was shocked at the small size of my, not just the size, the population in general, the small size and the small population number of the worms. So that's our update. These guys are all set for another week. I hope they enjoy it. Thanks for joining me, and we'll see you next time.